What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning in. Today I'm going to give you a quick review on the Radar Renegade AT5 tires. The ones here behind me are a 33x12.50 on a 22-inch wheel. They are a load range E tire, so 10 ply, rated for 65 PSI. I have never ran these at 65 PSI because they will break your jaw. So I generally keep these things right around 40 PSI. Probably has something to do with the fact that they are on a 22-inch wheel and only a 33, so the sidewall is pretty thin, but take all that information for what it's worth. Now, I did a similar review on a set of Toro Trailblade XT tires, and if you want to see that review, I'm going to link that right here and also in the description below. I put the Toros and the Radars pretty much in the same exact category. They are a cheap mud tire, although they're really not a mud tire. They're just like an aggressive all-terrain tire. And I say cheap because a set of these in a 33 and a set of Toros and 33s are right around $1,000, whereas if you bump up to like a Toya or a Nitto, you're paying about $1,700–1,800 bucks for the same size tire. Now, I did not buy these tires, like I didn't pick them out, if you will. I was driving home from Florida, wanted to buy a set of wheels and tires for the truck on my travels north, so I found these in North Carolina. It was the wheels and tires, a whole package deal. So they were basically brand new when I got them. The tires still had like the little hairs on them, which was cool. Gentleman bought them for a 06 Duramax, put them on his truck for about a week, and his driveway was about a mile long, nothing but dirt, and he realized it was a terrible idea running like a wide tire and a knobby tire that kicks rocks and everything up at your paint. I got these pretty much brand new, put them on a truck at 4,000 miles. I'm just about to hit 11,000 miles on the truck, so I got about 7,000 miles on the tire, and overall I would give them a okay. They're probably like a 5 or 6 out of 10. They look great. We're gonna get into the details here in a minute, but like I said, I'm gonna kind of compare these to my Toros because I did choose a Toros for a reason, and like I said, they're very, very similar. So let's get into the details. All right, so first things first, the Radars look good. These things have a really nice tread pattern. They look expensive, if you will. Like my Toros, you knew they were a cheap tire because like they looked like a cheap tire, whereas these things look like a more expensive Nitto or something like that. Like I said, 7,000 miles on them. There's plenty of meat left. These tires are in really good shape, so they're wearing great. I do keep them rotated about every 3,000 miles. And like I said, I think they also look really, really good. They have a really nice tread pattern. As far as the actual size, if they run true to size, they don't. So, but neither did my Toros. So these things are a 33x12.50. Well, they really only run about 32 inches tall. I did a video measuring. If you want to see that, I'll link that up in the corner as well, and then in the description below. These things only run about 32 inches tall, but they do run a full 12.5 inches wide, which is awesome. My Toros ran 33 inches tall, but they were skinny, or Toros generally run skinny, so they were only about 11.5 inches wide. So if you want something with a little bit more width, these things run true to size. They are not true to size up and down. As far as dry pavement goes, I've had no issues. These things hook fine when the ground is not wet, so I have a lot of confidence in them when I am driving in dry, normal weather. Highway, taking corners, anything, I don't have any issues with these things like wanting to slide or anything like that. I think they do very, very well. The problem is anything wet. As soon as you hit anything wet, these things suck. Then the truck's basically like a boat. Now, I also attribute that a little bit to having like 12.5 inches of width, so you have a lot of contact surface to the ground. But in general, I cannot stand driving this truck in the rain because you just slide everywhere. They do not have good traction in the wet, and especially like if there's any kind of laying water on the ground, you pretty much hydroplane. The steering wheel is just like, you know, Jesus, take the wheel. So whereas my Toros, same thing, about $1,000 for the set of tires. I had no issues in the wet weather whatsoever, and I even drove them in the winter a little bit in the snow. I will not be driving these things in the snow. As a matter of fact, as soon as I go home from filming this video, I'm swapping these out for my set of 35 Toyos that I just bought. We'll be doing some information on those tires as well, but I will not drive these things in the snow. I hate driving them in the wet weather, and even wet grass. I pull into my yard, my front yard, and the grass is wet. The truck will not move unless you're in four-wheel drive. So dry pavement, they're great. So if you live in like Arizona or something like that, you're fine. But as soon as it rains, you're in trouble. So I definitely do not recommend these in any kind of wet weather. I'm just being honest. So, and then last but not least is gonna be like the road noise. So we'll go for a ride here in 1 second and let you listen to the road noise. I was actually pretty impressed with these because they were super quiet when I got them. And probably around 3,000–4,000 miles, they started getting kind of loud. Whereas my Toros, I probably packed the whole 10,000 miles on those tires before I had any noise complaints whatsoever. So the truck is a little bit louder nowadays, but you can still hear the tires. So we're gonna go for a ride here in a second, and I'll let you hear the tires, hear them. They're not annoying by any means, but you could just definitely hear that you have like a somewhat aggressive tire on the road. But either way, real quick, before we go for a drive, would I buy them again? No, I definitely wouldn't. I would honestly buy a set of Toros. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but I really generally enjoyed my Toros, whereas these not so much. So I know there's another cheap tire that's like coming up in the game, and that's like the Venom Power Terra Grappler or something like that. I didn't try those. I thought about trying those like before I just bought my Toyos, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna finally buy like a nice set of quality tires and do some reviews on them. So overall, I hope you got something from this. We're gonna go for a ride real quick and let you hear the road noise. Not sure how well you can see, but I forgot to go over balancing, like wheel balancing. You can probably see I'm going straight, but my wheel, you might not be able to see in the camera, but it's not 100%. Like, these things aren't balanced perfectly. There's no way. And that was the exact same thing with my Toros. I actually had to take them to get rebalanced because they did not balance that great. So I do have some shake in my steering wheel, and obviously that has to deal with tires. But I'm going for a quick drive so you can see so you can hear the road noise. And we got a pretty good shot right here. So I shut the exhaust brake off so that way it doesn't kick on. You can probably just hear the truck at this time because I'm on the accelerator, but as soon as I'm gonna let off here in a sec. All right, so I don't know, I can hear it. Can you hear it? It's not bad. It is not bad. I will say I think my Toros were louder. Like, they definitely rumbled a lot more, but also my Toros were a little bit more aggressive than like these things are. But they're not bad, and you know, once again, the truck sounds a little loud nowadays too. So as soon as I get in on throttle a little bit, I hear truck, I don't hear tires. So take all that stuff for what it's worth. All right, guys, I hope all this was like somewhat helpful for you. The tires look good. I like them. Would I buy them again? I wouldn't. I'd probably, if I was buying a cheap tire, I probably would go back with like an Toro, or I would try like the Venom Power tires, the Terra Hunters or whatever they're called. Either way, like I said, hope this was somewhat helpful. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe, join the family, join the Cummins build, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.